When Joseph and his family first joined House of Mercy Revival Center, the church was small and struggling. The roof was leaking, the benches were broken, and when it rained, water entered the church. Sometimes they prayed outside under a mango tree. The general overseer, Bishop Daniel, was a man with fire in his words, but no money in his pocket. His wife, Mary, was always beside him, a woman who spoke softly in public, but her words carried power behind the scenes. I'm Patience. What you're about to hear is based on a true life story, a story of love, sacrifice, and betrayal inside the church. Joseph came with his wife Ruth and their 2 small children. They were poor, but they loved God deeply. Joseph was humble and hardworking. He was an engineer by profession, and he often fixed things in the church for free. When the fan spoiled, he repaired it. When the wall cracked, he patched it. He swept, cleaned, and carried chairs after service. Over time, Bishop Daniel noticed his faithfulness and began to call him Brother Joseph the Builder. Years passed and God blessed Joseph's work. He got contracts. He started a construction company. He built houses for people and soon became one of the richest members of the church. But even when money came, Joseph didn't change. He still knelt down to pray, still swept the church, still helped everyone he could. When Bishop Daniel wanted to expand the church, Joseph was the first to support it. He said, "Man of God, don't worry, I'll handle the building." He donated millions. He brought builders, painters, and electricians. He spent day and night supervising the work. When the building was completed, it looked like a palace. The bishop cried on the altar that day and said, "This man is a blessing. God will never forget you." Everyone clapped, but Joseph didn't even stand up. He just smiled quietly. He bought a car for Bishop Daniel. Later, he bought another one for Mary. He helped pay their children's school fees. When their first son wanted to study abroad, Joseph paid for the flight. He never asked for anything in return, not once. Even during harvest, when others were dancing to show off, Joseph gave silently. One day during harvest, he sat at the back of the church, watching everyone dance and shout. He whispered to himself, "Where did I go wrong? I never asked for money. I only helped the best way I could." He smiled sadly and continued to clap, even though no one mentioned his name that day. Time went on. Joseph grew older and decided to retire. He thought it was time to rest and enjoy life with his family. But life is not always fair. His business collapsed. Some contracts failed. His savings finished. Feeding became hard. Paying school fees became a struggle. Ruth would sometimes cry at night, and Joseph would say, "Don't worry, God who helped us before will do it again." He still went to church every Sunday, still sat in the same seat. But something changed. Bishop Daniel began to ignore him. When Joseph greeted, the bishop would just nod and walk away. Mary stopped talking to Ruth, and some members who once respected him began to avoid him. Then the rumor started. Brother Joseph is jealous of the bishop. Maybe he used charm to make money before and it failed. His wife is proud. She doesn't respect our mummy in the Lord. Even pastors that Joseph helped before began to spread lies. One said, Joseph wanted to take over the church. Another said he was angry that the bishop didn't make him an elder. Joseph tried to smile through the pain, but every Sunday became heavier. During one service, Bishop Daniel preached a message that broke Joseph's heart. The bishop said, "There are people here who think they built this church. Let me tell you, nobody can build the house of God except God." People shouted, "Amen," and clapped. Mary stood up and said, "Yes, God alone deserves the glory." Joseph bowed his head. He didn't move. He just whispered a prayer under his breath. "Lord, you see everything." Weeks later, another sermon came. "There are people," Bishop Daniel shouted, "who think the church owes them because they gave before. I'm here to tell them that their giving means nothing if their heart is not clean." Members started looking at Joseph. Some whispered, some pointed. After service, nobody talked to him, not even the bishop. At home that night, Ruth cried on his shoulder. "Honey," she said, "why are they doing this to us?" Joseph sighed. "I don't know, Ruth. Maybe this is how life teaches us who truly stands with us." The next Sunday, things got worse. Mary stood up during testimony time and said, "There are some people who gave before and now want to control the church, but God has shown me something. He said we must remove every wrong spirit from this altar." People shouted again, "Fire! Fire!" Joseph couldn't take it anymore. His heart was pounding. He felt like everyone was looking at him. And then it happened. During worship, Bishop Daniel stopped the choir and said, "There's somebody here. The Spirit of God is telling me that this person must leave this church or God's blessing will not flow." The whole church went silent. Mary shouted, "Yes, Lord, expose the enemy." People began to whisper again. Eyes turned, fingers pointed. Joseph stood up slowly. He didn't look at anyone. He held Ruth's hand and said softly, "Let's go." His children stood up too. The youngest one was crying. As Joseph walked out, he heard laughter, whispering, and the bishop shouting, "When God removes a person, don't cry for them." Joseph stopped for a moment at the door. He turned and looked at the big church building, the one he built with his sweat and money. He looked at the shining lights, the new pulpit, the cars in the parking lot. Then he said quietly, "I built this house with love, but I was foolish. I forgot that even in the house of God, you must be wise." He walked away with tears in his eyes. That day, Joseph left House of Mercy Revival Center forever. Moral lesson: be good, but don't be blind. Give, but don't forget yourself. Love, but be wise. Even Jesus said, "Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves," in Matthew 10:16. Don't put your full trust in people, not even in the church, because some people will celebrate you when you're rich and despise you when you're poor. Joseph gave his all, but he forgot to save for himself. He helped everyone, but when he needed help, nobody was there. So remember, help others, but use wisdom, because in this life, not everyone who smiles with you truly stands with you. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more.